Hello? Is this thing on?
What you doing, Green?
Oh, I'm just trying to start Latin's podcast, JFJ. You know, the reason why we came here?
Oh, I'll be over in a second.
What is that?
I do believe it's a donut. I found it in Lot's fridge.
Give me some of that. Oh, good, we're in.
Great, now I can finally put our plan into motion. Greetings and salutations, fellow listeners of the Arsenal Podcast. We come to you from the United Kingdom, true home of the Arsenal.
The Arsenal Football Club, that is, of course.
My friend Greenlink and I have been working on a product...
Guys, would you mind if I asked, what the heck are you doing inside my house?
Great. What do we do now?
Quick, lock him in the closet.
You know, I think that one's been done before. So we installed an anti-lock the host in the closet mechanism into the doors, so they won't lock me in.
Well, shoot. I wasn't prepared for this at all.
And now what do we do?
Well, perhaps we could explain, why we're actually here?
Nah, that'll be too easy. Let's stuff him under the table instead.
Jay.
Ugh, alright, we may as well.
So guys, care to explain yourselves?
Okay then. Once more, from the top.
My friend Greenlink and I have been working on producing an audio dramatization of the events of this fine piece of interactive video entertainment.
Well, what he means is, we're making a radio play, based on the missions and other stuff from the game Spiral Knights. Well, it's a web radio play, if you know what I mean.
But to do so, we need to tap into the vocal talents of our vast player base, in order to fill out these characters, both for parts main and supporting.
We need voice actors. We need them for both main characters, guest characters, extras, and, well, we need it for pretty much everything.
So, if thou wishest to join us on this noble endeavour, then parlay with us, and together we shall bring great artistry to our community.
Yeah, what he said. Check out the thread on the relevant board on this podcast forums. I'm pretty sure you'll find it there.
Hey, that actually sounds pretty cool. Maybe I could help you guys with the editing?
That'd be great. We'd really appreciate the help you give.
You are now doing all of the editing.
Thanks. Oh, and just so you know, next time you really don't need to break into my house to tell people about something. How'd you guys get in here anyway?
Let's just say that we know people.
Yeah, your house has been repossessed because you didn't fill in the paperwork as the auditor asked you to. And now we return you to your scheduled broadcast.
You're listening to the Arsenal, a Spiral Knights podcast hosted by Lord Hood, Lazarus Clay, and Zagreus.
Episode 54, recorded on November 4th, 2013. Hello everyone, this is Lazarus Clay. Welcome back to the Arsenal Podcast. We are going to be talking about Spiral Knights almost assuredly. Fewer people means more on topic. I'd hope I am joined today by Sir-Greenlink once again.
Yep. Whether you like it or not, I'm here.
Yep, there you go. And you might actually be loud from the, you are probably extremely loud from the audio I just played, but that should fix it. There we go. Alright, so, Hood, we've been out of town. I've been out of town, I should say, for the last 3 days. Got in yesterday, and so that's why today is a Monday, not a Sunday. And because I'm kicking everyone out a day, Lord Hood can't make it, Zang can't make it, so here we are. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't get going. I know you guys hear a lot about Greenlink on the podcast. We talk about him. He's been on before, so that is definitely a thing. I actually didn't, now that I'm looking at the sound, I didn't mix us before we started, but I think I will. It should be fine. We can do this on the fly. We do have a lockbox, and with the lack of people to do a lockbox skit with, I think we will abandon the lockbox skit for the week. and just peek inside this conveniently pre-opened lockbox that I don't feel like making up a reason to open. Don't blame me, I'm sorry. We do have some SK Science. I am kind of disappointed. I know of all the people, Zhang wanted to get in on this discussion too. And this is just the first part of who knows how many parts that we will do. Who knows how many errors we will make in reporting this, and Zeddy and Glacies and Quote can come at us with their torches and pitchforks and be mad. But hey, we're gonna run with it. So there's that. We got some, actually, I think some very spectacular art, Spawn Knights art that came out this week. And then of course some various odds and ends for costumes. So that will be the show in a nutshell. After a few long episodes, I imagine you'll probably get a shorter one this week. So this is this, or just take this nice and simple and no more. If you guys have not heard the end of episode 53, you should definitely go and... Hey, did you disconnect?
Yes.
Or did I disconnect?
I disconnect. Seems to be, I don't know if this is purely coincidence or not, every time someone sets a firework off.
Oh, really?
Yes. I did one then, and it went off.
What's the occasion for fireworks?
Tomorrow is a UK holiday known as Bonfire Night.
Huh. Alright, cool. Well, that's that. I was just saying, it's going to be a shorter episode most likely this week.
Alright.
That said, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, let's try this again. So basically...
No, actually, the excavators told the truth. It was me who lied.
Mission report.
Once again, that bumper made by the Honorable Maple Vodka Serving HRPB.
Also known as Herp.
Also known as Herp. Excuse me. So, I'm trying to think, because most of my game playing was done in the early half of the week, so while I think about what I actually did, you have anything of note?
Well, quite a bit, I'd say. I mean, I've definitely been on Spiral Nights more than I would have been for the past few months, thanks to the very grindy Dark Harvest, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I managed to get all three of them pretty much a couple of days ago, and I'm glad I did that.
Congratulations.
I started heating the 5-star stuff, and while doing a level with some guildmates, I started to complain by saying, why have I never found a forged prize box? 5 minutes later, guess what I find?
A soul jelly. You find a forged prize box.
Yes. First one I've managed to get.
Nice.
And I still don't know whether to sell it or open it.
That is the dilemma.
Right. And other than that, not a whole lot, other than I've been playing the game called Pokemon, also known as the game where you shove as many animals as you can into tiny balls to keep your OCD happy.
That is one way to look at it. I do hear
Yes.
X and Y are pretty spectacular. I don't own any of them, but I've seen some gameplay and all that stuff.
I spent way more hours than I should have done trying to find a shiny.
Oh, were you one of those people doing that?
No, I've only ever found one by chance. I've just gotten into doing it.
I see.
But I've spent way more time than I should have done.
Right. Complete side tangent for the next 60 seconds because we're talking about it. And yes, I realize that this is a Spiral Knights podcast, but Gen 4 Iron Island, where you partner with Riley, this is in the Sinnoh region just before you get to Sunny Shore. You get the partner who heals. It's all full double battles, and you get healed at the end of every round. I leveled every Pokemon I owned on that island before finishing with Riley to about level 41. So I put about, I want to say, 500 hours on Iron Island. So that would have been thousands and thousands of Gravelers and Onyxes and Steelixes. Not a single shiny. Very disappointed.
Oh my.
But anyway, that was a part of my gaming life. That was sad.
Yes, very.
Anyways, very disappointed actually. I don't know if they're going to make it available to me or not. I have my 4-star Graviton Bomb. Is it the Vortex? That's the 4-star one?
I think it's just Graviton Bomb.
Oh, that's true, yes. The Charge Bomb Vortex. That's right. And I was kind of waiting around for one more Eternal Orb to drop in FSC or something. I was just kind of hoping that, because I needed one more. I kind of didn't want to just straight up buy one off the auction house or from someone.
The
and
things
didn't really
I have 50 of.
Yeah. Well, you gave me one, I found one, and I needed one more. Except that I didn't account for the fact that I'd be gone until Sunday, and the update would have been over by then. So now I have an actual Graviton Vortex, and I have another level 10 Graviton Bomb that I have not yet crafted. And I'm kind of stuck, because there's no way to craft them anymore. So that's kind of disappointing, because the mission's gone now. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. They may bring it back. If they don't, then whatever. I'm just going to have 2 Vortex Bombs for now, I suppose.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd let you still craft it after the event, like, even if it was a piece of guild furniture, the obsidian obelisk.
Right. Well, and I've been told almost universally that it will be coming back. I don't remember what the patch notes said, so... Oh well. I will say this, too, and a video went up on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/SclayElite. I did this Sarlacc loadout, which was fun. That was a... Ideally, I guess you use the Obsidian Crusher, because it makes more sense with the tentacles, but I don't have that, so I was using my Vortex with the Wild Hunting Blade, and just as a giant Star Wars reference. You guys should definitely go check that out, and I'll tell you right now, Wild Hunting Blade in Lockdown is not a viable option. Please don't do it. Because it's really painful, and it's hard.
You can say that about half of the weapons in the game, and people will still use them. And it's funny.
I suppose that's true, and yes, it's that's the worth of it. And Durek is very correct. Shock is the silly status that's completely viable and strongly encouraged in PvP while being almost universally useless in player versus environment, because fire does more damage and the shock is hardly noticeable by non-human enemies. But oh well. I've been doing ridiculous amounts of study and research on statuses as of recently. Anyways, that probably would be the other thing I'm doing, is research and getting learned it up on my statuses primarily, but that's not anything that you guys won't hear on SK Impractical, so youtube.com/SclayElite if you want to check that out. That's what we're doing.
Like, comment, subscribe. Yes, Shang, I stole your line.
Oh, there you go. Well, thank you for bringing the joke back. It's that, and
I've got to keep something alive.
That's true. Thank you for doing that. Otherwise, I don't know where we would be.
Overheard at Moorcroft Manor. From the helmet of someone who likes some creature that requires a horn to fight with or something like that. The helmet is supposed to be resembling to a demon called...
So, I do need to make a correction. This was kind of silly, and I feel like Sparrow Knights just did this to spite us, but I know that's not the case. I believe it was to pair with the Obsidian Armor, because it actually looks really good. But after last week talking about chapeaus and tabards and saying, no, those old colors from the set that aren't violet or coral, they'll never show up on the anywhere again. They were a limited time only. And then they put up a black set over this week. And last I saw, they were both over 1.2 million crowns, but I was not following it. That was when it was still at long sell time. I don't know what they went for, but that was kind of spectacular. And kind of silly that they were making us eat our words, but hey, it is what it is. I'm happy to see them. Also, want to buy Violet Chapeau really badly. but oh well. It's not going to happen anytime in the near future. Let's see. What else happened? Friday. This was interesting. When I left for out of town, it had been 4 hours into, servers were down, forums were down, things were down. We're blaming it on either gremlins getting into the candy or fiends having office silliness. But, yes, this whole thing was down for about 8 hours, all told, on a Friday, which is kind of tough.
And then, just to add insult to injury, for Steam users only, there was also, I think it was on the Sunday, that they could also not connect to the game or log into the forums.
Oh, really?
That was quickly fixed, though.
Okay. Don't really know why this was the case. As far as we know, they hadn't added anything to the game come Wednesday, so there was no reason inherently for the game code to cause the game to fail so that they'd close everything. And so the thought is it's some internal server issue, but we may never know. But that's kind of unfortunate at best, because that is the company losing money more than anything else. And lastly, I believe we have Tavakia making her announcement that she is leaving the Adventurous Delicious blog, spiralsnipes.tumblr.com, which is a partner of ours. And Tavakia, as a person, is a partner of ours. And that is just something to be aware of if you follow the blog or the person. You can still see what she's up to at spiraltev.tumblr.com. I will actually make sure I have links to both of those in the show notes. But that is both unfortunate, and I don't know why there's a both. That's kind of unfortunate, but moving on is part of what's happening. I will make this aware, too, if you decide to, and I'm just saying this for the people that are outside and know about the whole Gempire thing, because I can say that they are about to leave. Like, within this next week, a lot of the Gempire people are moving over to Rift, the another game. So that's going to be a lot of... That just went
free to play, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Right.
So
I know what you're talking about.
They are moving over, and so you're going to see a little bit less Gempire activity. I think they said they're going to try and see how long they can stay on the leaderboard, but if you're listening to this and you're one of the Dark Cubs who likes to do Dark Cub things, now is a better chance as any that you got. So have fun with that. And getting on to discussion, because we say when there's no news, we want to talk about something, and we just want to talk primarily about shields this time, because Glacies came to me about a month ago and poked me and said, "Hey, what do you know about statuses on shields? And what do you know about heating shields?" And I said, "Not much, actually. I was very curious about how that works. Does it just mean you can stand on a status panel for 1 tick longer, or what is up with this?" So this is kind of... I couldn't wait long enough, I guess, is the core of it, and that's why I started up Spiral Knights Impractical, because there's just so much information, and with all the news happening, and we're expecting the Gunner update to come, at least shadows of it to come within the next week, if not this Wednesday. It's just very slow, practical, quote-unquote, practical science, or maybe impractical science, I don't know. But perhaps what the Spiral Knights lab really should be, because that's where Glacies and Zeddy and Quote and whoever... I'm forgetting people for sure. Who else? Krakob. Who are the scientists in the world who make all their things known? Anyways, that would be the lab.
You can always credit them later.
Yes, I will. And as things come, this is mostly Glacies' information that he passed on to me, and I just want to pass on to you, because it's very interesting. One of the things with shields is that the defense between level 1 and level 10, as with most things, is slightly redundant. With weapons, you kind of want it for the you want to level to 10 for the charge time reduction. We're talking about 5-star here, of course. For armor, the little bits help because they do reduce the percentage by some amounts. The health scales in the hundreds and thousands, not 100,000s, but 3 digits and 4 digits, so having slight percentage increases to your defense definitely helps. With shields, though, it's like in 3 to 5 units, because you will take that many hits before your shield breaks. And between level 1 and level 10, there's only about a 2% difference in the defense between how much your shield can take of any single attack. And a maximum UV towards your defense, say normal, will only increase it by another 4%. So this was tested on, I'm told, every shield, and Glacies is here, actually. And I kind of want him to tell us about this himself, but I don't think that's going to be happening, unfortunately. If it is, tell me. But he's in the live stream chat right now. But he said, like, every primary 5-star shield on cats, on slagwalkers, which are the fiery zombies in Firestorm Citadel, and Trojans, and compared the bars of shield from level 1 to level 10, and the difference is nearly 0. You compared a non-UV'd Aegis on a Slagwalker swipe with a Shadow High UV Aegis on a Slagwalker swipe, because of course Slagwalkers deal shadow defense and Aegises have no resistance to statuses. Status resistance is about to become important. There was a 2% difference. Heating a shield from one level to the next gives about a 0.33% resistance for every 2 levels, as it is. So ultimately the difference is very, very small, and you should not roll on your shields unless you literally have nothing better to do with your crowns. And at the heart of it, once you've got a level 1 shield, if you have other things to heat in your dock, don't heat your shield, because there really is no point. It's not like it gets extra bonuses, it's not like you get extra buffs, anything like that. And then there's statuses. Okay, so that's the defense, and I should actually deal with this first. Then there's the health on the shield. If you don't know, the health bar on the shield, shields are the only ones that have that statistic, and that just determines how long the shield bar is. So your blue shield bar will be scaled according to how much health your shield has. Then there's statuses, and what do statuses do for shields? I will tell you about the... checking the chat room. Talk about the tests that were done, and then tell you about the conclusions, because I find this very interesting, and it has ever so slightly changed the way I play. I would love to see more strategy in the game than what's there, but it very much is a gear-full hack-and-slash still, which is what those kinds of games are supposed to be. But the test was this. So there was a Drake Scale Shield and a Wise Owlite Shield to compare the value of each tick on a shield. So each tick on your shield bar, quote unquote, represents a medium UV and adds 2% resistance to your shield. What that means is, and I'm sorry, by bar, this is audio and visual is slightly different. Alright, so when you mouse over your shield, you have the bar of statistics, and there's the little blue tick bars. Each one represents a medium UV or so and adds 2% resistance to your shield beyond the base defense that every shield gets, which is determined by the health of the shield. So, say a Barbarous Thorn Shield. And I'm going to block all your attacks with my blade, with the shield and the Crest of Almire have the same amount of...
you were talking about?
This is getting ridiculous, but hey. You put them both side by side, and they have the same amount of defense and the same amount of health, so they should inherently, ideally, block the same amount of damage. The only difference between them is about 12%, is the amount of defense that you will take. That's the amount of resistance that varies between them, because beyond the base health of the shield, you get about 6 ticks of 6 little blue bars of normal health beyond that, and that's 2% of resistance times those 6 bars, which means about a 12% difference. That is the only difference that you get between any shields based on their defense. And considering how you will only take about 2 or 3 swipes from any shield by any normal enemy before your shield breaks. The 12% difference really won't matter. You'll take 2, maybe 3 swings from a zombie with a Barbarous Thorn shield before your shield breaks. You'll take 2, maybe 3 from any other shield with other defense that has the same amount of health. Now, that is true until you get to statuses, and I can't actually use the Crest of Almire in that example for a fire zombie because that there is status involved in that. And statuses do come into play with shields, because a full status bar, so say your Wise Owlite shield, or Divine Owlite shield, what is it called? What's the 5-star for the Owlite? Why is it Wise Owlite?
Wise?
It is. I'm like slowly doubting myself, but has a full bar. There's a full bar of fire, full bar of shock. So let's take the test that Zeddy threw at me was Dread Skelly shield versus the Crest of Almire against a fire zombie. So a Dread Skelly has... I'm going to hate myself. Well, it doesn't have fire resistance. I can tell you. I want to say it's poison and maybe freeze, but that's Snarblax. Anyways, Dread Skelly versus Crest of Almire. Crest of Almire has a full bar of fire resistance. Otherwise, they're exactly the same. The statistics for normal, shadow, and health are the same. The Crest of Almire actually takes 30% less damage than the Dread Skelly. Because the shields are exactly the same with only the statuses being different, that's telling you something. It's telling you that the shields actually absorb the damage from the actual status, because there's nowhere to go. It's not like your shield is going to get shocked or your shield is going to get poisoned. And when you shield, that status doesn't transfer to you anyways. It's not like I can keep blocking zombie breath, but I light on fire anyways. That's not how it works. So it just gets absorbed directly into the shield. So you could stand, and this goes, it makes sense, right? I would expect to be able to stand in an oiler slick that's on fire longer if I have a shield with fire resistance than not. But it's a significant amount of difference. If each bar of defense on the statistic equals about a 2% difference in the shield bar, which is something we already talked about, then it basically adds about 15 bars of health to your shield. That is very significant, and that can change the number of swings you take by, in my experience, almost doubled it. So, i.e., I could take twice as many attacks, and this is, of course, in Tier 2, where things are more controlled, but with statuses versus not statuses. So, that's a wild number storm of data and ideas, but basically, when you have your health bar filled on both shields, one that has status and one that doesn't, the difference between the shield's defense, say piercing versus shadow, is about 12% variance. I.e., it's not very significant. Whereas statuses is closer to 30% variance, which is enough to make the difference of one hit. So you can take an extra hit. In my experience in testing, and I've been trying this ever since I was told this, because I'm like, really? I want to try this. So in a fire... Not caring about the damage, because I just wanted to test this, in a fire Wolver level, and damage starts to become more significant in Tier 3. I was doing this in Tier 2, so it's slightly less significant, but the same point remains. A Wolver Den with the Ash Tails, with the Fire Wolvers, and using a Crest of Almire is actually preferred defensive-wise over the Barbarous Thorn shield because of the fire. Because the fire is more significant than the actual piercing damage that's taken. And once again, this is skewed because the Tier 2s deal normal along with their piercing, whereas in Tier 3 it's full piercing, so you have no defense, so your Crest of Almire is going to get hit harder. And then, of course, you have things like, well, what about the damage bonus? Those are all things that you have to weigh into consideration. So in certain cases, this may never change which shield you decide to equip. But in the case that it does, just don't forget that don't put so much weight on the type of defense that your shield has over the statuses, because the statuses are much more dominant than the actual defense in how much damage your shield takes. I would say, beyond anything else, though, that when I pick shields, I just go for the passive buffs anyways, the attack speed increase or the damage bonus or whatever it ends up being. And of course, Glacies is confirming for me, because once again, I'm not sure, but people who are sure says Tier 3 Elite is full piercing. Yeah, you get full single type defense, or attack damage in Tier 3, rather, not defense. So you got to be smart about it, but statuses are not something to be ignored, as they often are. And once again, statuses don't change, so don't waste your time heating your shields when you have other things to heal. That's probably the most practical thing that could come from this, is don't waste time, and don't waste your heat crystals, assuming you don't have many like myself, heating your shields. If you're one of those people with like 10,000 radiant fire crystals, by all means, go have fun. And probably shields need a buff badly to separate them out a little bit more. The way damage calculations in this game works is pretty unified. It's not a significant difference that you've noticed, oh no, I took a damage from a jelly when I'm wearing full elemental gear, when I'm wearing full chaos. Just because it's piercing doesn't mean it's cripplingly bad. That's generally not the case. So I want to read one more thing that Glacies is saying in the chat. Barbara's Thorn Blade has... Look, he did it too. He said Barbara's Thorn Blade instead of Barbara's Thorn Shield. That's funny. Says,
we're all going insane.
It's the science. It's killing you. However, if you roll a U... I'm actually going to read... I'm reading this out loud because I'm not comprehending it, trying to talk and read at the same time. Wolverines do 50 HP. Let's say the shield has 100 HP per bite. So Wolverines do 50 HP per bite. A Barbara's Thorn Shield has negative 12 HP, or 6 units of piercing. I assume he means shield, not blade. Which means your shield would break in 3 hits instead of 2. However, if you roll a low UV, piercing UV, you'd take 49 HP instead of 50 HP, which is the same amount of hits. So, yeah, he meant shield. The point of this is heating your shield is pointless. It doesn't actually mean much. And UV your shields, if you get a UV normally, by all means, enjoy it. Statuses are strongly preferred over defense as far as I'm concerned. And UVs, once again, a maximum UV will confer about 4% extra defense to your shield, which is in some cases enough if the numbers line up just right so that your shield has just a tiny little bit left. Of course, that's the obvious result, but generally that's not going to be what happens. So you want to focus first on passive buffs, so your Barbara's Thorn Shield, for instance, not Blade Shield. Secondly, on statuses, and then lastly on the actual defense, would be my general recommendation. Take it or leave it, that's your kind of thing. Will I eventually repeat all of this on Spiral Knights Impractical?
Please don't. My head hurts.
It's numbers and weirdness. I'll be completely honest, in most games the numbers are usually my favorite part, which is why it makes me sad that there's a custom encoding over all of the data files and such for the drop tables and the damage tables and all that in the Spiral Knights game code, and there's no way to look at it, which makes me extremely sad. But, as HRBB says, heating shields are for endgame people that have nothing better to do. It's very true. Transmutations. I have been thinking about a way to, say, take the badge system from the Paper Mario series and the mechanics of Spiral Knights, the random level generation and things like that, and smush those two together with like an item system, we were talking about challenges and quests kind of things. a few episodes ago, and take that in the form of Binding of Isaac items and smashing the three of them together and making a Spiral Knights game that has item rooms that augment the way that you play, as far as giving you buffs and reducing things and such. But
I don't know about you, but I think a blender would be better for all this stuff.
okay, well, take two cleavers, right, and take two Bettys and chop it up into little tiny pieces and mix them together, and you'll probably get something disgusting, but in my mind it looks kind of pretty. So
Let's do it anyway.
I'd love to. I'm still learning to code. If it ever happens, it'll happen. Is there anything, I don't know, that's kind of like my mock transmutation that I'm just kind of throwing onto the end of that to say, I wish that there was more technicality in the game, but oh well.
Well, I suppose I could add on to your challenges bit. As a challenge, what about if you give each player a different role? Like they would have to do a certain challenge that would be, I don't know, protect like if you could protect the other players from taking X amount of damage, and another one could be deal X amount of damage for the party or something like that.
That would be interesting. Yeah, like the whole roles kind of thing.
Because, I mean, we kind of do have it with the swords, guns, bombs, tanks. You went over this before, I think.
Right.
But it doesn't feel as... There's not a lot of incentive to go for a role.
Right. Something, I imagine a poison 20 enemies that your teammates finish off. I don't know, I can see... I actually have not thought about roles before, but that would be super interesting too. I mean, I wish that there was something where I could hit my escape button and look at some of the options and say, maybe even for this session, if not lifetime damage dealt numbers of sorts, maybe even only in player versus environment, I don't know. But damage is dealt in numbers, so can I not add those numbers up and find out how much I'm dealing in certain sessions and reset it? Like a trip meter,
Let's just
or
say it's over several million.
Most likely. I don't know. I'm looking for a... I love the... I've said this so many times before about so many things, but I love the framework that Spiral Knights has, but I see a million directions that it could go. And of course it is a growing game, and the developers have a direction in mind, and we just had the Arcade Redux Part 1, and there are more parts to come. So the game's not in its final state, and the developers have an idea of how they want to see it. I just keep coming up with different ways of, oh, wouldn't it be fun if it looked like this, or wouldn't it be fun if it worked like that? And team roles would definitely be cool, where you'd assign before you went. Where, I mean, I could see a thing where you get your ancient plating item that, I don't know, increases your defense by so much and reduces your movement speed. I don't know. You'd find the augmentations in the level that give passive or even active changes to the way the game works slightly in a run. Men can dream, right? It's just one of the many ways, I suppose, to take it. Spiral Knights is in development still, of sorts, always is, as with most MMOs, except we are in a specifically stated, explicit, in-dev state right now, so I suppose we should sit and wait. In the meantime, we can stare at some beautiful art, I suppose. So let's do that. Spiral Order Recon.
I got it. Yikes.
Oh, HRPB is throwing something at me in the chat instead of sending it formally, like so many of you guys are really good at. But, oh well, I suppose. He's got, like, his transportation ideas, and he's got his large Dracon and all that. since I just have to pose the question, we've talked about this before, because the only wheels that appear to be in place in Spiral Knights are, like, on the faces of strangers, behind lumbers, and in Firestorm Citadel. But where do we need transportation to and from? It's not like it's a roguelike or anything like that. You can come and go as you please, go to Haven, come back, instead of getting locked into a 4 or 8 level adventure where you can't leave, and if you die, there's a consequence of some kind. Like there used to be with Mist Energy and that kind of thing for the people that didn't always have elevator passes. The name is already fading from my memory. Running at all times. If that was the case, then you could use your quote-unquote transportation to, I don't know, skip a level, move through a level faster, but there's not too much point. He's saying Haven for swag. Okay. Sure.
I'd just like to point out, how would they afford this transportation? I'm pretty sure the Spiral Knights economy isn't in the best of states right now.
That's also true. They don't have time to waste. If they had transportation, they'd just leave. Isn't that kind of what's going on?
Yes, pretty much.
Or try and find the evil snipe cannon that shot them out of the sky in the first place. Oh, wouldn't that be a silly Flash minigame? Someone make that. Someone make a giant Dracon that you ride and make it like a simple shoot-'em-up where you're just trying to find the evil snipe cannon, and then you fight the evil snipe cannon and then like win Spiral Knights, and that's the end. Someone do that. That would be silly. Yeah, driving game a la Underworld Drift, Tavakia says. There you go. Although she was saying that about just driving in general. Oh well. It's like, I don't even know what's going on.
What
Anyways.
would they do? Because Haven's not exactly the biggest of places, and I don't think Cradle is much bigger. You're bound to crash into someone at some point.
It's like the 50 knights standing around in Haven 1 on any Saturday afternoon, and it's like, okay, everyone, pull out your vehicles right now, and they just crash the game. Because there's like 500, there's like 50 giant whatevers, I don't even know. Dracons, like, even, to follow HRPB's idea. Who knows? Could be a thing. Once again, yet another direction that you could take the open world of Spiral Knights, and they promise to make it more sandboxy, so we will just have to wait and see.
Here's a suggestion for it. Driver's license, 15,000 CE.
That would improve the economy until enough people got it, and then it would start to destroy the livelihood of, I imagine, the servers as people zoom around in their Dracons and their... I don't know what else you do. Knight for speed, Spiral Ground, Cyborg Rock says. Someone draw that. Someone do a racing game Spiral Knights crossover. I don't know. So many ideas, so many possibilities. In the meantime, like I said earlier, we can stare at art. Like Landhammer by Jester, who is formerly Improv Pania on DeviantArt, changed his name to Jester. Old friend of mine who used to be when we met up in the Rogue Guild where TD Lob was. And he's still pumping out this crazy, ridiculous art stuff. And the first one, Landhammer, is for the Knight Landhammer, and my favorite thing about it is probably the fact that when I first saw it, I'm like, is this just a styled up screenshot from the game? And go back and look, no, that's definitely a drawing, but it implements like the Vanguard 10-1 Landhammer name at the bottom. Super cool stuff that he's got. So that's one. The other one is I'm Back Cosma, which if you guys haven't seen this is like the bestest thing ever. This is another one. All the links to these will be in the description, by the way. You guys may know Lizzie from the forums or in-game, who is Fried Snipe on DeviantArt, and did the animation, the rain animation for the art that Jester drew to be basically a very dark perspective of Boost being the energy trading stranger. And it's interpretive, And I've seen people in the comments were saying that, this explains the Apocryphal Harvester too. It's super cool. I think it's really... It's
Make
super
this a
pretty.
creepypasta now.
Please do. Someone make a boost creepypasta or something. It's beautiful though, and I love it. And I want to see more of this. Goodness sakes. And lastly, Ode to Antigua by Mamo Misho. Just basically straight up guns in a very dynamic, I want to say dynamic fashion. I don't really know what the word is to describe this, to be completely and totally honest, but it is got the different symbols to identify. As soon as I saw it, I knew what it was, but there you go. Still very cool looking. If you see art that we are not reporting and should be, go ahead and send it to us. Tell us why you like it, what you think. For sure a link and whatever other information you need. And then, of course, if you guys have nothing better to do with your lives and you don't really feel like heating your shields, or you want something to watch/listen to while you heat your shields and other such things, please don't heat your shields. It's not worth it. You go ahead and check out youtube.com/GameplayFlicks/Serjinxable and /Sklayelite for some different super cool things of different kinds and different flavors.
After you're done staring at art, of course.
After you're done staring at the art, be sure to check all these out at sklayelite.com/Arsenal, which is the website where you can find all the links, as well as a download to this and every other episode and other cool things. And while I'm on the YouTube bent, I'm looking to do a collaboration. We are on the brink of actually just making it happen with Chalk 3 GameplayFlicks and Chalk 3 and GameplayFlicks being the same people, and myself doing a couple of different collaboration type videos. One of them will be on his channel. At least one will be on his. At least one will be on mine. So if you're interested in getting in on the whole Spiral Knights and Practical scene, I would love to have you. And please contact me and say, hey, I want to do something. And I'll be like, absolutely, let's totally do it. And do not forget, I should put those Serjinx, Chalk, Sklay. And lastly, do not forget about Clockworks for Charity, which is a event being hosted by Button Mash. It is more specifically by Maroka, who talked about this last week. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check that episode out. This is on November 16th, starting at... I cannot remember the time that it starts at, and I'm looking on the website right now. What time?
I think it starts really early in American time, like 5 a.m. or something Pacific.
Right.
Around that time.
That sounds about right. And then we will, and he'll be going for as long as the money keeps coming. You can go to clockworksforcharity.com and check out all the information for that. Donate if you feel so inclined. And we will be participating in that, so be sure to check that out as well. That will be it for your media fix. If you want other things, be sure to check out spiralsnipes.tumblr.com. There's some cool art and such, and things, and good things to watch. Maroka is here. He says 1 p.m. GMT. Oh, so not quite that early. Maroka's in the chat. Okay, so that will be, if you live in the Eastern Standard Time, is going to be... My maths are failing me. No, you were exactly right, Green. Wow. Good job. Yeah, 5 a.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Excellent. HRBB is asking, is it also possible to donate crowns or CE? I think the idea is to raise money for charity. Maroka says, I don't think PayPal accepts those.
We should force them to.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Well,
there you go. If you want us to do something... Well, I shouldn't say us. If you want Maroka to do something interesting with your crowns and CE, and if that's an incentive to make other people donate, I think that would be a cool idea, HFEB. And for the rest of you, if you want to say, like, look, I will give him 500,000 crowns to do some 3 UV variant rolling if we raise this much money by this time. If you can set stuff like that, I think that would be super cool. But
Yes. Or we could give it to PayPal and say, shut up and take my money. That might work.
and they'll say no, and we'll say, no, PayPal, you're stupid and your ideas are stupid and no one likes you anyways. And once again, if you haven't heard the end of episode 53, please do so, because that's what I'm referencing. I'm not actually that mean of a person. I'm just continuing the joke. I've totally messed that up. Clockworks4charity.com. Bazaar. Banter. And Durak finishes off that discussion by saying, PayPal is no pal. So you got your costumes this time, and I own only one of these. Among them are the Plasmatech armor and helm, the Metal Sonic suit, and I guess helm, and the Guardian sets. So Plasmatech is first. It is basically bomber armor shaded to be metallic blue. And the battle pack is still purchasable, right? I don't want to say that
the only
is
thing
or isn't.
that was removed was the Explorer's pack.
Alright, so yeah, because I had the elevator pass, that's right. So you can purchase the battle pack, and this is the complimentary armor set that comes with it. I honestly hardly see people wear it, but hey, it is what it is. If you're interested in looking like a blue metal bomber robot thing, then go for it. On the
other hand, if you're interested in looking like a blue metal non-bomber robot thing...
Exactly. Then go ahead and watch the auction house featured list, because these sometimes show up on there. Or hop in your time machine, go back to when the promotion was happening, and purchase a copy of Sonic CD.
It's still going on, actually. I purchased Sonic CD during the summer sale, and I was surprised to actually still receive it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said it was a limited time offer in January, but it's still going on now.
Okay, well, maybe that's a thing then. So, go ahead and purchase your Sonic CD if you want to do that instead. It is basically Metal Sonic.
Support Taxman, says Glacies.
That's a very good point. And then, of course, your Guardian. This is from the Guardian Armor Pack, which is still purchasable, and you can get a bunch of energy, like upwards of 6,000 energy, a 30-day heat amp, which sells for a lot of crowns if you don't want it, 25 Sparks of Life, which I still don't understand why people are passing up the opportunity to call Sparks of Life souls, because they abbreviate to SOL, and you should be calling them souls, because it makes so much more sense. Anyways, and 4 silver keys. Purchase that. You also get the armor. There's Heavenly and Infernal. They are white and red/black copies, reskins of the Azure armor sets.
Yes.
And they look... Well, I know the armor is... The helmet is not. The helmet is of one of the ones for... Maybe it's Mighty Cobalt.
Helm, I think.
Oh, is it? Alright, well, that's a thing then. And... shoot me, but the promotion just ended for the Dark Harvest Festival too. I suppose we should have mentioned that. But the Phantom Mask looks a lot better with the Infernal Guardian armor than it does with the Vogue Cup coat.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
I'd just like to make a couple of notes about the Guardian armor pack.
Yep.
I believe that you can only purchase this once. So
Correct.
that you can't get it a second time. Meaning it's a good idea to wait for an offer. They've had it in the past where they've done 50, 75% off, and you really do not want to miss that.
That's a very good point. That's when I got it. Alright, that's actually a very good point. I didn't think about that, but that is smart. And Glacies is over there saying, Swarm-themed gear, and his voice joins the masses of hundreds of other players who... maybe thousands of other players who say the same thing. Once again, another direction to take Spiral Knights that is not yet being done, but that's okay. It really is okay. Don't make me start yelling about being patient again.
Oh no. That's not...
Next week, we are talking about bomb heads. All of them. So if you have a favorite bomb head, don't tell me in the chat room. Send it to me, and we can see if there is a clear winner for favoritist bomb head of all time. And
yeah,
I will
all
tell
the
you.
bomb heads are stupid.
And their ideas are stupid? And no one likes them anyway?
I thought no one likes them anyway, but I don't know.
Alright, well that's that. You can, for sure, send us information about anything if you want to send us stuff for Swell or Recon, for art, videos, links that we are not featuring, transmutations, your ideas for what you want to see in the game, and your thoughts on... news and discussion for Spiral Knights. I really honestly don't know what we'll be talking about next week, but we'll have something for you. I'll probably talk to the other hosts and see what's up. I'm curious how we got to episode 54 so fast. I was putting out the announcement that this episode is going to be rescheduled to Monday and typed episode 53 and put it all out as episode 53 and went, wait a second. We already recorded 53. And why is the time flying like that? That is so crazy.
Has it really been a month since you did that episode 50?
It has been. It's been... Yeah. Oh my goodness. We did it at the end of September and it's November now. So yes. Golly Pete.
What am I doing with my life?
I don't either. Actually, you might be winning things. Let's find out in just a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, your unique variants.
Okay, so for the finally and at the end of all of the debate and talk over the episode 50 auction, the auction was won by Citrix last week. Payment has moved between hands and package will be in the mail very shortly. For the show notes, that was Citrix who won that. But we had this raffle and we said, tell us what you thought about episode 50 and then you can be entered in this raffle. All the money that we made, which was $5 on the... Well, we didn't make any because we're actually paying for postage, so it's coming out of our pockets. But whatever, don't criticize us or don't criticize me that I'm saying it wrong, that I'm actually spending money. Please. Please? Where was I going to go with this?
It's $5. Calm down. I think you were going to start the raffle.
Yes. And so the $5 is going back into the game of Spiral Knights as merch. And you could tell us what you thought about episode 50 to get into the raffle. And we gave everyone time. We said, hey, you're not in. People were saying, I'm in. Am I? No, you're not. And
I'm in, by the way.
You are in, by the way. You, Third or Wing, Freaks Pet, HRPB, and RB Manatee are rolling for this. Whatever the $5 is, along with a bunch of birthday candles and birthday hat accessories and other things. We were told everything that from... Let's Go for episode 100 to episode 50 was super silly. HRPB told us that it was... I'm pretty sure he went into... No, actually he didn't. HRPB said, fun, exciting, joyful, scary, maple vodka-y, astounding, pleasing, head-scratchingly, belly-aching, heart-pounding, shock-flinching, poisonly weakening, fire-burning, zangoose, Betty-fying, hood-fangingly, lattice-insaningly? Hand-wavingly, fire-burningly, and meaningful episode.
Whoa, that's more than 5 words. That's more than we asked for.
We said do it however you want. People did send us in 5 words. RV Manatee said, we said don't send it to us. Oh, don't send us like, it was good. And he sent us good. And just like made a big deal about it, so he's in there too. And Greenlink gave some thoughtful feedback and such, which is, I think, what it was expected. So thank you guys for that. We had a lot of fun making it. And you did hear at the beginning of the show about Greenlink and GFJ organizing for reals a radio play, and they need some help. Sklayelite.com/arsenal/forums. I will put a thread up there as soon as we're done with this, and make you guys admins of that so you can create threads and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to update with a character list.
Alright. And guys, check that out if you're interested in voice acting and being cool and just joining a project that's not anything higher up. It's just people making things for other people like, as players of this game, which is what this podcast is. People be treating Zhang and Hood and I like we're something special, and I'm saying, please stop. It's not anything crazy, but anyways, I do have a list here.
You're nothing special. You're stupid.
And our ideas are stupid?
No one likes you anyway.
There you go. I do have these people numbered in no particular order. For Greenlink, RB Manatee, Third Wing, HRBB, Freaks Pet, these 5, 1 through 5, they are numbered quite randomly. And I was going to have one of the other hosts decide on the number, but since you're here, Greenlink, do you want to just should I use a random number generator, or would you like to pick a number between 1 and 5
4
to win this? 4?
Yeah.
All right. 4 is Freakspet. Freakspet, who said episode 50 was super silly, so congratulations to you, sir. Applause to him, and
/clap
/slow clap. He will be /high five /pet your battle sprite. That was so. Freakspet, we will be sending you things as soon as we can. I actually have not put that $5 through into Spiral Knights because it hasn't gotten to my PayPal yet. We're having some technical issues on that. But so Freakspet, I owe you stuff. Citrix, I owe you a package. Thanks, you guys, for the fun events and stuff. If you would like to sponsor an event, that is always a thing, and this is not something we made super clear. But if you want to say, hey, look, I got this stuff, and I want to do an event, and I want to hear what people have to say about this, let us know, and we'll be happy to promote it and tell everyone whatever you want to say and make it a contest of sorts or whatever you'd like to do. That is A-okay. Also, we've already figured out. Go ahead.
Unless you're going to do a contest saying, hey guys, I got these sector drops. I want to give away 5 of them to one lucky person. You probably won't feature that.
Probably not. But hey, what it is. There was an update today, by the way. The servers got reset. And hashtag Gunner update. Anyone? This is today's Monday, by the way. All right. That is that.
I just realised something that no one's made a point of.
Oh?
Do you remember how Spiral Knights used to do daily maintenance updates? Whatever happened to them?
We're not sure.
No one said anything.
No.
Like, neither players nor the staff.
Right.
I just wondered where they went.
Yep. That's a good point. I missed the kicking me out at 8 a.m. every morning. So I'm so nostalgic. No. All right. Well, and that actually might be, I don't know if that's Moroka's just schedule or if that's his insight to start his live stream, which is at 1 p.m. GMT on November 16th. I want to say 16th. Now I'm going to get it wrong. Boy, go to clockworksforcharity.com and find out. That happens right after the normally scheduled reset. But hey. Where was I going to go with this? Oh, I was going to say thanks to you guys for listening, and that's the end of episode 54. We already know what we're doing for episode 75, which is kind of exciting, I guess. That's already a thing. So, assuming we get through into the year 2014 and someone from the future doesn't come to stop us and say, your podcast created a black hole and we need you to stop right now, we'll keep trucking away.
I can see where that's going already. Because technically you would have created the problem by trying to stop the problem.
Don't you just love space-time paradoxes?
Of course.
Those are the best. Shouting out, who have I worked a lot with this week? Artist BMA was back on, and he was running PK with me for a while, Pumpkin Kings with me for a while, so appreciate that. Shout out to the most troublesome listener of this podcast. I would give you that award, that superlative.
Impersonating Ruby Eclipse and many other people.
But he did a good job at it, so Whimsicality and Artist BMA. Anyone for you? What you just want to say?
Who was I going to shout out to? Yes. Yeah, that's it. Shout out to guild member Nanil of the Night's Watch for telling me how I can actually profit off of these 50 eternal orbs.
Really?
Yes, apparently I should go run Operation Crimson Hammer, craft the mask, and sell it.
Well, you do make a profit from the mask, that's for sure.
And I could make several 100,000.
Well, if you feel like grinding it, go for it.
I'm prepared to do that.
Alright. Well, if you're going and I find you, I will join you at some point, I imagine. But hey. You know what? Let's do this. Let's do a reverse shout out. I don't know if this is going to work at all, but if you are of the Night's Watch and you're listening to this right now, send something back at us. And we'll see how many people actually do that. If you're of the Night's Watch Guild and listening to this right now, email us or message us in game, one of the hosts, and say hi or say whatever. And I'm of the Night's Watch, and we'll see how many people go. I've been talking to Pronius recently, trying to get him back on the show. It will happen very soon, so that's a thing.
Soon.
Glacey's in all caps in the chat room has just jumped in and says, "Guys, this podcast caused a black hole in the year 2014. We must stop." Oh, sorry. They're saying...
You mean, was that when SpiralCon happened? Did it happen?
I'm not sure. I'm still stoked over the idea that having Button Mash host SpiralCon. I'm sorry, but that's just such a exciting prospect to me.
Yes.
SpiralCon should happen one of these days. It will happen one of these days. Okay. SpiralCon's stupid, and the idea is stupid, and no one likes it anyway. Oh well.
Oh. Disappointment.
I is disappoint. Also, maybe you is disappoint that this episode is over. But don't worry, you can always just tell a friend about us, because the more listeners we have, the more our influence grows, and the Arsenal podcast taking over the world could become a thing.
I think you said too much.
Too soon? Dang.
Yes.
Okay, well, be a normal person and call us at 1-678-322-7765. You can find us on Steam. You can join the Arsenal Podcast group, which has 158 members in it now, which is kind of cool. Glacy says, "Lad, have you heard of the podcast?" I don't understand. I'm sorry.
What? I've not heard of this. I've definitely not heard of the Arsenal Podcast before.
No, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm in the middle of a joke. Cyborg Rocks is saying, "No, that will activate the black hole." Don't worry, nothing bad will ever come of this podcast. Famous last words. You can email us at arsenal@sklelate.com if you want to tell us your theories for where this game should go, or send us things and MP3s and links and all sorts of fun stuff. Tell us how you would take over the world using Spiral Knight's mechanics. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, the usual places. Of course, youtube.com/sklelate, some fun stuff there if you're into, I suppose, I'd say technical in quotes, but Spiral Knights does not get technical, unfortunately. People would disagree with me, but at the heart of it, there's much more technical things to be seen than the game of Spiral Knights, but that's that. You can see all the links that we discussed and all the episodes and other cool stuff at sklelate.com/arsenal. Just add a /forums to the end of that to check out the radio play, the Greenlink and GFJ radio play. Is that going to get a name anytime soon, you figure?
I've actually talked about this, and well, I might as well tell you what we're planning on doing it about. We're doing, I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but we're doing an adaptation of the mission system, pretty much, and GFJ simply wanted to title it Spiral Knights.
Well,
that's it.
Unfortunately, I can't call it Spiral Knights because that just...
The radio play.
The radio play. That'll work.
I'll probably think of a cool name and force him to use it. I'll work on it.
Alright then, let us know when that happens. Someone else left a review on our iTunes page the last couple weeks, so we really appreciate that. If you listen through iTunes, no, it doesn't get updated nearly as often as it should. Usually I put like 3 episodes up at a time, and I'm sorry. But if you listen through iTunes, be sure to leave us a review and help us out and say, they're slow to update, but at the same time, whatever else. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to write a review. that is that in me saying that, you can tell that we've probably been going for a little bit too long already. So we will wrap this up. Greenlink, thank you for joining me and saving me from a day of soloing. I don't like soloing the podcast. It's not fun. I'll be completely honest.
Fun. You go insane talking to yourself.
I really do. Don't /tell yourself anybody in game. It's just a bad idea.
Talking to yourself is a sign of insanity.
I'm not crazy.
On the other hand,
I'm not crazy.
sending mail to yourself is not a sign of insanity.
I'm sane. I'm not crazy. I'm sane.
Of course you are.
I'm
And
sane.
your ideas are not stupid.
I'm not crazy.
And everyone likes you.
I'm sane.
Yes.
I'm not crazy.
Oh look, it's a black hole.
Oh goodness. We better end the podcast before it consumes everything. Thank you guys for listening. I don't know where to go with that. I think we're done. We'll see you guys next time.
Right.
Bye-bye all.
Good night. Good evening. Afternoon. Bread is pain.
Like, comment,
See you.
subscribe. Don't be stupid. Don't make your ideas stupid. And be liked by everybody. We'll see you next time. Drink some maple vodka, and we'll see you next time.
Don't forget your cup.
Geared up and ready to go? Thanks for listening to the Arsenal, a Spiral Knights podcast. See links and listen to previous episodes on our website, skaleli.com/arsenal. Send comments, questions, and audio to arsenal@skaleli.com or give us a call at 1-678-322-7765.